In the first Kid Icarus game, we see this old man with a full beard and hair on the side of his head in a white robe. He gives Pit an arrow to increase his arrow strength and sometimes put him in intense training to endure in order to see if he is worthy of getting one or if not, all three special weapons. He acts the same way as before in Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters, with the addition of giving Pit an extra life block, depending on the player's score in each level. His appearance is almost the same as before, having a pair of wings, a halo, and only having a mustache. His last appearance was in the 3DS classic of Kid Icarus. Now then, who exactly is this character? And what else do we know about him? Going back to his name, oddly enough, he wasn't given a name until the second game in the manual. This seems to be a localization change, and it was never his official name. In the Famicom Disk version of Kid Icarus, he was called the Friendly God. So this guy isn't Zeus at all, right? Well, that's what I thought at first. This is where it gets a little bit complicated. In the short manga, Go-Go Pits-kun, he tells Pit that Palutena is his daughter, and he must save her from Medusa. For those who don't know, Palutena is based on Athena, and is Zeus's daughter. Given this information, this could possibly be Zeus. His personality in this manga is easygoing, and he wears a white robe with sandals, a full mustache with beard, and has a cane. Volume 21 of the Wanpaku Comics Technique book series had a story adaptation of Kid Icarus that was a 192-page strategy guide turned into a full manga. Zeus is still depicted like before, except he has a halo on the top of his head, predating Myths and Monsters, and as well, a slight redesign to his head and face. His role in the manga is just like what he did in the first game. The difference here is that he paints Pit when he gives him an arrow, and his personality is a lot more comical and strict, mostly because Pit was acting like a spoiled brat. After Pit fails Zeus' training, he tries to open the door to get another chance, only for Zeus to strike him down with a lightning bolt. In another book named A Myth of Light, Palutena's Mirror, Overthrow the Demon in Shrine, published by Futaba Basha Publishers Limited. This is a choose-your-own adventure book based on Kid Icarus. These kinds of game books are usually isekai adventure books. At the start of the adventure, Pit, well, not really Pit, but a high schooler named Mitsuyo Kagami taking the role of Pit from the real world. Like I said before, it's a weird isekai adventure book. Anyway, he wakes up in an unknown forest, and this is where he meets the Friendly God. He breaks the fourth wall and tells Pit that he's the author of this soon-to-be-told story. Everything in this world is pure fiction, and everything Pit does, he will write it down. Before he can complete writing the story, he tasks Pit to defeat Medusa and save Palutena. He gave him a leather bag that holds an infinite amount of things to carry, an infinite amount of arrows, and a bow. Afterwards, he just leaves. He shows up from time to time to check on Pit's progress as the story progresses, and sometimes help him make decisions. At the end of the game book, it's revealed that Palutena is the granddaughter of the Friendly God. The reason why the Friendly God brought the kid from the real world to the fictional world is because, get ready for this plot twist, Palutena and Medusa are the same person in this adaptation of the story. She was turned into Medusa because she ate the forbidden fruit of fiction. Eating this fruit creates a disease from the real world that affects someone from the fictional world. The only way to cure this is to have someone from the real world use the three sacred treasures, turning Palutena back to normal. As a reward for helping out, he summons a mirror to let Mitsuyo return back home to the real world. You are probably thinking that the Friendly God is Zeus, but he's not. The actual Zeus shows up, along with his wife Hera and his daughter Athena. Nowhere in this book does it mention any relation with one another. These two are separate deities and different bloodlines. Pit met Zeus when he saw a bird from a tree transforming into a human being. He tells Pit that he's the king of all gods of the mystical world and hopes to meet him again. Zeus then turns into a bird and flies away. Later in the book, Zeus was the one to give Pit the wings of Pegasus if he trains enough, and tells Pit to go to the Rocky Mountains in order to find 3 caves, one of which leads to Medusa's temple. Afterwards, he just leaves for good. If you want to know what Zeus looks like in the book, well, here it is. This is what he looks like. That's the last we see of Zeus. Even though all of this information about him sounds interesting, all of this about him in the 3 mangas are non-canon. Zeus wasn't in Uprising, not even one mention, or neither showed up in any of the promotional mangas and animated shorts. You could say that Lord Dyntos is Zeus, since both of them are old men. They put Pit in trials, create weapons, and help him on his quest. But there are 3 problems with this theory. If Lord Dyntos is Zeus, how come Palutena or Pit doesn't acknowledge his help in the first 2 games? Even though it's stated that Dyntos is powerful beyond imagination, he's most likely based on the god of blacksmiths, Hephaestus. The closest thing to Zeus' acknowledgement is Poseidon and Hades, with their respective titles and names. Why is this important? Well, it's because both of these characters in Greek mythology origin are brothers, even though neither character spoke anything about this in the game. This could mean that Zeus does exist in the Kid Icarus series. So what might have happened to him? Here's my personal theory of what might have happened to Zeus. Since the Greek mythology origin, he is known for being the king of all Greek gods and the god of thunder, as well as being immortal. Many fans of the series suspected that he was the former owner of the Thundercloud Temple and the Lightning Chariot base. Palutena says that the Thundercloud Temple was abandoned since ancient times. This theory could be debunked here, but if this temple did belong to Zeus, she could have said Zeus's temple. In the Japanese version of Uprising, the angel bow was called Cupid's god bow. So why doesn't this apply to the Thundercloud Temple being Zeus's temple? Perhaps Palutena is still young, even for a goddess. She probably wasn't born during that time, or probably heard it from someone else, or just read it from a book. Like I said before, Palutena is based on Athena, and shouldn't she be Zeus' daughter? If we're talking about canon-wise, that part, I'm not really quite sure. The only one who I think I knows the whereabouts of the owner of the Thundercloud Temple, besides Hades and Poseidon, could possibly be the Chariot Master. Palutena did mention that the temple was abandoned since ancient times. For those who don't know, many fans theorize that the Chariot Master's former master was Zeus, due to his association with lightning and thunder. Either the Thundercloud Temple belongs to another unknown thunder god, or Zeus is the owner of the temple. If this is true, we could conclude that Zeus is an ancient god from the past. But maybe, just maybe, could it be also possible his name is long forgotten and perhaps a forbidden name? Once again, talking about Zeus's brothers, each brother did something harmful to the humans in the game. Poseidon sank a city filled with humans due to hubris, envy, and deceit, and Hades wanted humans to kill each other to collect their souls for his army.
Extreme?
Humans consist of equal parts hubris, envy, and deceit. Sometimes one has to put them in their place.
Straight. All the lives lost in battle go to building up the underworld army.
You got it. So the more fighting there is, the bigger my army gets. My goodness, it feels wonderful to be on the winning team.
Is it possible that Zeus went mad with power? In Greek mythology origin, Zeus hated humans and went mad with power. Remember, Palutena cares about humans, unlike Zeus. The only gods that rebelled against him were Hera, Poseidon, and Athena, but they failed when Thetis unleashed Hecatoncheires Briareus to help Zeus. To apply this in the Kid Icarus series, there might have been an all-out war against Zeus, and there were many casualties, including humans, titans, other living creatures, and even gods. The only proof I have about this is the idle description of the Chariot's Master, mentioning a war, but not just any war, the wars of the gods. If what the Chariot's Master said to Pit lines up with this theory, this could mean that Zeus is the former master of the Chariot's Master that passed away in the war.
I understand better than you know. For my own master, I would not hesitate to dirty these hands.
So you serve someone as well?
I did. I've suffered countless war wounds, but none greater than the loss of my master.
You may be wondering, Zeus is an immortal god. How can he die? There's no possible way any Greek god in this series or in Greek mythology origin has ever truly died. It's already been proven that gods can get resurrected.
Hades keeps reviving me, but I won't play the puppet anymore!
But there is a way to kill a god from existence. The only way to kill an immortal god is to stop worshipping and acknowledging them. This might sound stupid, but one Greek god did die because of it. Meet Pan, the god of the wild. In Greek mythology, around the years of 14 AD to 37 AD, when the Egyptian sailor named Damis was trying to sail to Italy, he heard a voice that said, "Damis, are you there? When you reach Pelops, take care to proclaim that the great god Pan is dead." Once he reached his destination, he spread the word of Pan's death. The cause of his death is unknown, but he did truly die after the news spread about his death. Spreading of the news of Pan's death occurred during the beginning of Christianity. People during that time were starting to realize that the Greek gods were not real, just myths. They now shifted over to someone else to acknowledge and worship, that being Jesus Christ. This could be the reason why Zeus is not in any of the games, especially in Uprising, because humans simply don't want to acknowledge and worship him anymore. The next generation of humans that survived the war forgot about him after his death. Without humans worshiping gods, gods don't exist. If you want evidence of this concept in the game, listen to this conversation with Reedy and Pitt at the end of the game.
Not true! All living creatures have an essence that can be described as heart.
But humans have faith and devotion. That's what I mean by heart. Only humans believe in gods. Only humans respect the gods.
Only humans believe in gods. Only humans respect the gods. You can't worship and acknowledge a god if they don't remember you. Better yet, if you don't exist at all. Zeus's body and soul most likely turn to dust and vanish into thin air. But how come the other gods don't talk about Zeus or the events that happen? That's quite simple. Once again, without acknowledging Zeus, he won't come back. And that's the end of my personal theory on what happened to Zeus. Besides my personal theory, that's all we know about this friendly god, or Zeus, whatever you want to call him. Who knows? Until Nintendo decides to make another Kid Icarus game in the year 2037. Maybe my theory is wrong, and Zeus is still alive somewhere. Anyway, as always, take care, be safe, have yourself a good night, and I will see you back here with your boy, Mr. A.I.G. Later.